I read this quote somewhere. You glow differently when your confidence is fueled by belief in yourself instead of validation from others. Isn't it powerful? The reason why I share this is because so many women I work with who are high performers often fall into the trap of trying to please others and get their approval in order for them to feel good, feel appreciated, in order to be seen, not realizing that they are masking to fit in. Growing up, right, I used to sit in front of the TV completely mesmerized by any travel shows. And there was one woman in particular who stood up for me more than anyone else. She was Padma Lakshmi, if you know her. The way she moved through the world, her elegance, her calm confidence, her softness yet strength in her voice, I remember thinking, I want to be that kind of woman when I grow up. Not the loud, confident kind, not the forceful kind, but just grounded, thoughtful, and quietly magnetic. For a long time, that image lived in my heart. I wanted to explore the cultures of the world, express myself freely, and feel safe inside my own skin. Somewhere along the way, I lost myself, briefly. And I remember reaching a point where I genuinely asked myself, how did I end up in this place? I had to go through the ugly phases to find out who I truly am, exploring the self. Something that a lot of women skip because it can shatter all that you have believed to be true once. It is almost like a caterpillar turning into butterfly kind of phase, if I put into an example. It takes healing and time. It took healing, rebuilding my nervous system, studying psychology and yoga, and learning how confidence is not something that you perform. Rather, it's something that comes from belief in yourself. It's something that you feel internally when your mind and your body are in alignment. What you say reflects on what you do and brings you towards your purpose. And I kid you not, that is the journey that eventually led me to help other women build their inner confidence, reclaim their voice, and come home to themselves. Today, we're going to explore insecurity, what it really is, how it shapes us, emotional, physical patterns that it creates, and how healing that gut-brain axis can actually be a profound role in rebuilding your emotional well-being and confidence. Let's jump into it. What is insecurity anyway? Most people think that insecurity is a personality flaw. It's just something that you were born with, something that is permanent, like it's a genetic disorder. Truth is, insecurity is not who you are. It's not even a personality trait. It is a protective mechanism. Insecurity is simply a result of many years of accumulation that comes from shrinking yourself, selling yourself short, becoming smaller until it becomes your coping mechanism. That becomes an autopilot-driven mechanism that you stop realizing it anymore because it pains you to see the cost of insecurity. The lost opportunities, choosing a partner from insecurity, stuck in a dead-end job, not confident enough to pursue that business, not confident enough to be seen. These have painful implications resulting from insecurity if you think about it. What I want you to know is that it is absolutely normal to feel insecure. It's the body's way of simply responding the way it was designed to protect you, from distress or circumstances that may not be pleasant for your body to feel. It perceives as emotional threats, danger. Watch my other video here where I explore the survival mechanism patterns that I won't be going further in this video. Insecurity is learned from the past experiences, dysregulations of thinking patterns, and emotional conditioning that you were taught wasn't safe to express yourself freely or even take risks. Maybe you have expressed yourself before, but the smirk in people's face has showed you that this was not a desired reaction, so it made you feel unsafe to do it again. Instead of working at it on a different level or maybe approaching a different group of people, your mind perceives this as threat and stops you whenever you try to reach outside of your comfort zone. This is just your mind trick that brings this experience to surface so that you won't feel embarrassed anymore, or feel the shame anymore, or feel the risk of being ridiculed, the shame that it brings you, the perceived shame. This is a mechanism against insecurity that is called avoidance in psychology. We avoid being ourselves altogether, whether it's in a relationship, in a social setting, or in a work setting, whatever it is. And because of this, many people don't understand that they brush these insecurities as, I'm just too shy, I'm just not confident, this is not something that I do, this is just how I am. But insecurity is not your identity. Remember that. Repeat this line with me. My insecurity is not my identity. My insecurity is not my identity. It is a survival mechanism that the body's intelligence has learned to rinse, repeat, and do it all over again long time ago. This is where you need to intervene. How insecurity shapes us. Insecurity, right? It drives the decision we make, the risk we don't take, out from fear, the pain of learned experience, the relationship we attract, or even the way we carry our bodies. When it becomes so ingrained in our subconscious, right? Insecurity now sits in your driver's seat. It becomes like this lens that you see the entire world. And suddenly we have this limited point of view where we don't see the world as it is anymore. We build stories around it so we can feel safe and comfortable. Insecurity limits our perspective and narrows our vision. You know what happens when you have narrowed view of the world? It shapes a limited mind, unable to think beyond the box you were conditioned to be in, the culture, the conditioning, the society. But it doesn't have to be this case, right? If you see a lot of inspiring leaders, Malala, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Stephen from Diary of a CEO, Oprah, they all have gone through these deep traumatic experiences that was meant to destroy them. But instead, they chose light. They made a difference. They showed up, not letting the past block them. It shapes how we interpret people's reaction, how we talk to ourselves, how we limit ourselves without even realizing it. And because so many of us were conditioned to obey the rules, be the good student, be the good kid, be polite, be not too much, insecurity is normalized. And just because it has been normalized doesn't equal to being healthy. How do we recognize insecurities language then? There are 5 common patterns that you must be aware of when it comes to insecurity. We don't always say, I do this because I'm insecure, right? It shows up quietly in our behaviors, our emotional habits that we don't recognize. So let's explore this. Number 1, procrastination. This can look like postponing that workout that was going to lean you out. You don't just do this out of laziness, but because you can't bear the fear of what if I am in the best shape of my life? Then I might feel like an imposter. Your logical mind wants it, but your emotional mind, subconscious, rejects the vision of yourself, of the future. Pattern number 2, lack of self-belief. You know you are capable of doing more. You know you are meant to experience more, but you let your self-doubt take over. It looks like, okay, I want to start a new business, but not taking the steps because you needed more certificates or more finance or more accolades. But to start something, right, all you need is to believe that you have everything right now to deliver and that you can refine later. Sometimes it can also show up as this readiness. We think we are going to have a sign from the universe telling us that we are ready, but we forget that our desire to do things are our biggest signs. Pattern number 3, difficulty accepting yourself. You compare yourself with others, especially those peers around you. You always feel 2 steps behind. A lot of women I work with have selective acceptance mechanism. where they love certain parts of their bodies, their mind, their behavior, but they hate certain parts of themselves, even if it is the trait, They think that it's a personality flaw. Pattern number 4, deep feelings of unworthiness. You don't feel worthy of anything good. Feeling like you don't deserve rest, peace, love, abundance, or success. This has a lot to do with your state of nervous system too. If you grew up in a family thinking, oh, money does not come from the tree, and you envision yourself having this financial freedom, right? That in itself has been ingrained in your subconscious that you may even project in your daily habits, like you spend relentlessly, you compulsive shop, but then your bigger vision is to be financially stable. You see what I mean? Then the cycle will repeat itself, calling for nervous system regulations. Pattern number 5. This one is a big one because it's so common with high performance, overworking. If you grew up hearing things like money doesn't grow on trees, or you need to work hard to get money, you might still believe that worth must be something that you earned through sacrifice. And yes, like anything great and tangible, sacrifice is an essential part of achieving something. But sacrificing your well-being, your rest, is a recipe for long-term mental health disaster that leads to emotional burnout, even psychosomatic issues. Sometimes when we feel certain things happening in our body, the constant headaches and something is wrong with the body, but when you seek doctors' advice, they say that there's nothing wrong with your blood work. Those are psychosomatic disorders that need to be intervened through emotional regulation, nervous system work, and somatic practices. Now let's bring into the deeper layer of modern science and ancient practices, which I love doing, by the way, combining the brilliance of yoga and psychology into things because they always show us the wise solutions. If you grow up being told to shush or don't talk back, you may struggle to speak up as an adult. It may even feel like you lack courage, but it's actually the way your nervous system has learned that silence is the safer way to be. In yoga, right, it often reflects as underactive throat chakra, the center for expression and truth. If you were told you are too sensitive, you are too loud, you are too much, you may have even learned to push down your emotion and bottle up those emotions. Over time, this closes the heart space too, the energetic center of love, compassion, and connection. This isn't something that is mythical. This is a strong emotional pattern. Dr. Joe Dispenza described this as the heart intelligence. None of these patterns mean that you are flawed. It just means that you have adopted into a survival response in the environment that you grew up in. What happens when your insecurity became part of your personality? Now, insecurities doesn't show up as insecurities like we explored earlier, right? It hides in those small little things that show up in our life that has bigger impact, leaving us wondering, what the heck is wrong with me? When insecurities goes unaddressed, right, for years even, it can lead to real life consequences. Choosing partners who do not value you fully, staying in jobs that does not fulfill you, holding back your ideas or your voice during a meeting, shrinking yourself to be the good girls to fit in, avoiding opportunities because they feel uncomfortable, living a life that feels smaller than your potential. These things, you don't even realize you're doing it, but your nervous system has adapted and is running the show right now. Now, there is something that people don't ever connect insecurity with, and that is your gut. It almost upsets me that no one knows this. Your gut and your brain are communicating two ways constantly. If there is a mantra you need to adapt from anxiety, depression, insecurity, right? Let it be this: your gut health is your mental health. Your gut health is your mental health. If your gut is inflamed or imbalanced, your mood, your confidence, your clarity, your indecision, stress tolerance, and emotional resilience all go down. A reactive gut creates a reactive mind. An overwhelmed gut creates an overwhelmed mind. So remember, your gut, your mind, your emotional state are all connected. When you support your gut with the right food, with the right mindfulness techniques, with the right things, right, it allows your mind to feel better. If you haven't watched this video, I speak in depth into what you can do for your gut health to improve it so that you can experience a better clarity in mind. This is integral, especially if you want to heal yourself holistically. Okay, now let's get to the juicy part. How would you know if you are shedding away your insecurity? So here are some signs that indicates that you are slowly moving from insecurity to confidence. First, you begin doing what you said you will do. You start keeping promises to yourself, even the smaller ones. When you say you're going to do something, you actually follow through. So when you begin honoring your own commitments, your own word, and keep promises to yourself, even in the smallest way, your body recognizes it as safety. Second sign of healing is procrastination slowly fades down because fear no longer paralyzes you. Yes, procrastination has many roots: fear of failure, fear of success, lack of clarity, but insecurity-driven procrastination feels like being frozen. When healing begins, that freezing slowly fades down. Then you move, then you take action, then you don't wait for everything around you to be perfect. This shift is the biggest one, that your nervous system is no longer perceiving everything from a stress point of view. There are also other reasons for procrastination, and not always necessarily stem from insecurity, but that is a topic for another Soulful Sunday. Sign number 3, you speak up more. Not in a loud, disrespectful manner, but with calm, grounded confidence. In a way that shows that your opinions matter. Your words can be heard and be received. Your voice becomes clearer because your throat chakra is no longer being constricted or being told to shut down. Sign number 4, you show up for yourself even when your emotions fluctuate. Bad traffic jam, stick with the plan. Bad mood, stick with the plan. Had a rough day at work, make time to move your body. Having cravings to order food, still eat your meal-prepped meals because those are more nourishing and those don't rely on your emotion. And I tell you, this is the most life-changing skills that a woman can have, mastering one's emotion. Sign number 5, you stop needing external validation. You stop outsourcing your worth or your decision based on the people around you, everything that is from the outside world. You begin trusting your own intuition, and you no longer need approval to feel solid on the inside. The constant seeking, over-explaining, pleasing slowly moves away from you. Sign number 6, you celebrate your wins, no matter how small. This is very important when I'm coaching someone. Like, we celebrate everything that you do because showing up for yourself is a big celebration on itself. When you celebrate your small wins, there's no space for, I could have done better, oh, I didn't do well, I need to wait for something big in order to celebrate myself. Those don't come in the way. Sign number 7, you can look at your thoughts without identifying with them. Your inner critic is still very active, but then they no longer hijack or paralyze you from taking action. You begin noticing your stories instead of believing every single one. Sign number 8, you practice emotional boundaries. For many women, right, especially introverts, growing up, highly empathetic personalities, insecurity often show up as over-absorbing others' emotions, moods, and energy. The ability to have compassion without absorbing what is yours is important. When you start healing insecurity, your emotional boundaries look very different. You begin to differentiate between what is yours and what is not yours. And you stop internalizing every tone, every look, every mood, every shift in people's reaction. You stop assuming people's emotions are all because of you. You stop carrying that emotional weight of the entire room. This is emotional maturity. This is nervous system in regulation. And this is the root of what psychologists call as empathetic concern, where you don't absorb others' emotions or internalize it. It means you are developing boundaries, energetic, emotional, psychological, and you're no longer leaking your identity just to feel safe with others. Yoga teaches us to see things as they are, not through lens of fear or self-doubt. When you stop identifying with insecurity, it loses its power, and that can feel very powerful. If you feel that you need one-on-one guidance, my booking link is down below. In my coaching, we work on nervous system regulation, emotional processing, gut-brain axis nourishment, so that you're able to rewire all of this conditioning that you have been having your whole life and building simplest routine that aligns with who you truly are. And if you'd like to explore my other videos, check out my channel and make sure to subscribe, like this video if it supported you in any way. And I'll see you on another Sunday.